Have you ever wondered what happens when two narcissists get into a relationship? It might seem like something out of a movie, but it's actually far more common than you'd think. Relationships between narcissists are true emotional spectacles, full of power struggles, jealousy, and inevitable explosions. If you're curious to understand how these dynamics work, this video was made especially for you. If you've ever dealt with a narcissist, you know how exhausting it can be. The constant manipulation, insatiable need for attention, and lack of empathy make any coexistence a challenge. But what happens when two people with these traits come together? Can they form a lasting connection, or are they doomed to chaos from the start? This phenomenon fascinates many people, especially because it seems so paradoxical. Narcissists are, by nature, obsessed with themselves. So how do they make room for someone equally self-centered in their lives? To some, it might even feel like a relief knowing two narcissists are busy with each other, away from harming others. However, this interaction is anything but peaceful. It's intense, volatile, and often destructive. In this video, we'll explore exactly how narcissists react when they come face to face with someone just like them. You'll learn the stages of this relationship, from the initial love-bombing phase to the inevitable collapse. Get ready for surprising insights that might change how you see these complex dynamics. If you want to learn how to spot behavioral patterns in these relationships and protect your emotional energy, keep watching. This content promises to be eye-opening and transformative. Hi, I'm Lauren Mitchell. My mission is to show you that you were never the problem. If this resonates with you, like the video and subscribe to our channel. Let's begin. Imagine two spotlights crossing on a dark stage. When two narcissists meet for the first time, that's exactly what it's like. An explosion of light, shine, and energy. At first, everything seems perfect, almost magical. Both are enchanted by what they see, or rather, by what they want to see. They recognize each other as rare pieces of the same superficial puzzle, where looks, status, and external validation are the main compatibility criteria. In this phase, known as love bombing, both sides heavily invest in crafting a glamorous narrative. Expensive gifts, over-the-top public declarations of love, and carefully curated Instagram posts are just some of the tools they use to impress each other. It's like watching two performers compete to see who can put on the grandest show. And for a while, it works. Both are obsessed with themselves, but also with the reflection of their own ego in their partner. What makes this phase so captivating is that both are willing to give and receive grand gestures. A narcissist loves being admired, but also enjoys admiring, as long as the object of their admiration meets their own high standards. In this scenario, they feed off each other's attention, praise, and displays of loyalty. Everything seems like a perfect cycle where each plays the ideal role for the other. But here's the crucial thing to note. This initial connection has no depth. It's built on a fragile foundation of superficiality and selfish needs. While a healthy relationship is based on mutual support, vulnerability, and growth, the bond between two narcissists is purely performative. They care less about their partner's well-being and more about maintaining the image of perfection they've created for themselves. This phase is also marked by an illusion of compatibility. Both believe they're living an epic love story, worthy of movies and novels, but in reality, they're just dancing around their own egos, unaware that the music could stop at any moment. This is where the first cracks begin to show. The initial excitement gives way to subtle signs of boredom and dissatisfaction. Still, while it lasts, love bombing is a fascinating spectacle. It's like watching a play where the actors are so absorbed in their roles that they forget the audience can see through the act. But as we'll see, this initial spark can't withstand the constant pressure of clashing egos. When the initial shine starts to fade, it's like a silent storm brewing on the horizon. The love bombing phase, no matter how intense, can't bear the weight of the colossal egos on both sides of this relationship. This is where the first signs of tension emerge, revealing the fragility of what once seemed like a solid connection. The shift happens gradually, but inevitably. One partner might start feeling bored first, while the other is still lost in the illusion of perfection. Narcissists are experts at controlling their own emotions and expectations, but when they sense their external validation dwindling, their patience wears thin. Suddenly, minor flaws get magnified. An innocent comment, a delayed text reply, or even something as simple as a social media post that doesn't include them. What was once mutual admiration quickly turns into competition. Both start noticing undesirable traits in the other, traits that ironically mirror their own. For example, a narcissist might accuse their partner of being self-centered, controlling, or overly critical, completely oblivious that they exhibit those same traits. This creates a vicious cycle where each tries to invalidate the other, competing to prove who's more important, talented, or worthy of attention. Mutual suspicion also takes hold, since both are constantly seeking validation elsewhere. Any interaction with a third party is seen as a threat. A simple Instagram like, a casual chat with a coworker, or even a smile at a stranger can trigger explosive arguments. To an outsider, it seems irrational, but inside this bubble of inflated egos, it all makes sense. Another factor contributing to the decline is their mutual inability to offer genuine emotional support. Narcissists have no interest in nurturing their partner's well-being. They're solely focused on satisfying their own needs. When something goes wrong in one's life, say a missed promotion at work or a lost opportunity, the other offers no comfort. On the contrary, they might even weaponize it to reinforce their own superiority. This behavior breeds deep resentment and fuels further conflict. As tensions escalate, both partners begin emotionally distancing themselves, yet neither is willing to admit the relationship is crumbling. Instead, they double down on proving they're right, whether through subtle manipulations or direct confrontations. Every argument becomes an epic battle where the goal isn't resolution, but victory. And as we'll see, this obsession with control and power leads to devastating consequences. When two narcissists reach the breaking point in their relationship, it's like watching a perfect storm. The initial love-bombing phase has faded, and now they're trapped in an endless cycle of conflict, blame, and selfish demands. This is where the ego war peaks, turning every disagreement into a battle for supremacy. Imagine two people who once seemed like the perfect pair of shining stars. Now they're more concerned with proving who's better, more important, or more deserving of attention. Every word spoken carries hidden meanings, veiled accusations, and provocations. To any outside observer, it's clear neither is truly interested in solving the problem. The goal is to win. In this dynamic, there's no room for compromise. One defining feature of this phase is mutual hypersensitivity. Narcissists are notoriously unable to handle criticism, even when constructive. Together, this sensitivity becomes exponentially amplified. Any remark, no matter how neutral, can be interpreted as a direct attack on their ego. "Why did you say it like that?" Or "Why did you look at me that way?" become constant questions, reflecting their growing paranoia. This creates a toxic environment where even trivial gestures spark intense arguments. Another fuel for the chaos is their implicit competition. In a narcissistic relationship, everything is a contest. Who earns more money? Who gets more social media likes? Who has more influential friends? This relentless need for external validation turns the relationship into a battleground with no winners. A classic example is when one partner achieves professional or personal success. Instead of celebrating, the other feels envy and resentment, viewing it as a threat to their own status. It's like watching two performers fighting for the spotlight. Only one can truly shine. Mutual suspicion also plays a crucial role at this stage. As mentioned earlier, narcissists are prone to seeking validation outside the relationship. Together, they automatically assume the other is doing the same. Every social interaction is monitored, every text message questioned, and even small details, like liking someone's Instagram photo, become grounds for explosive confrontations. This constant distrust only heightens tensions, creating a vicious cycle of accusations and counter-accusations. What makes this phase especially painful is the complete lack of empathy on both sides. Narcissists lack the emotional capacity to offer genuine support. Instead, they exploit any vulnerability exposed by their partner as ammunition for attack. If one is struggling, the other doesn't offer comfort, they use it to reinforce their superiority. This dynamic destroys whatever emotional connection might have remained. Yet the most intriguing aspect of this ego war is the shock both express upon noticing undesirable traits in their partner. They're appalled to see selfishness, lack of empathy, and excessive need for validation, completely blind to the fact that they exhibit these same traits. This cognitive dissonance creates an almost comical situation. While accusing the other of being unbearable, they ignore their own equal culpability. Despite the constant conflict, these relationships often drag on simply because neither wants to admit defeat. Both are obsessed with emerging as the winner in the breakup. This leads to endless debates over who keeps the car, who deserves more money, or who gets to play the victim in the story. This fixation on control and power only prolongs the suffering, making the relationship even more unsustainable. This open warfare marks the climax of a narcissistic relationship. While it might seem impossible for things to get worse, the dynamic follows its inevitable course toward total collapse. And as we'll see, the end is just as dramatic as everything that came before. Even amid the chaos, one element often keeps narcissists trapped in this toxic cycle: sex. For narcissists, physical intimacy isn't about connection. It's another arena for performance and competition. In this context, sex becomes less about mutual pleasure and more about personal validation, control, and power displays. Narcissists treat sex as an extension of their grandiose identity. They turn every encounter into a spectacle, something to be remembered as proof of their superiority. This might include exaggerated gestures, promises of unforgettable experiences, or even an obsession with their physical appearance during the act. In some cases, sex becomes a tool to smooth over conflicts after explosive fights. After a particularly intense argument, they might use sex as a way to make up, though it rarely addresses the underlying issues. However, this dynamic has a dark side. No matter how intense and passionate the sex may seem in the moment, it doesn't fill the emotional void they both carry. Narcissists can't offer true intimacy because, for them, everything revolves around themselves. Even in their most private moments, the focus is never on their partner. It's always on their own image, performance, or personal satisfaction. Furthermore, sex becomes yet another source of rivalry. If one partner suspects the other is seeking attention outside the relationship, it can trigger intense jealousy and baseless accusations. The mere thought of their partner performing better with someone else is unbearable for a narcissist, fueling further paranoia and controlling behavior. While sex may serve as a temporary distraction, it cannot sustain the relationship long-term. As fights become more frequent and tensions rise, even this aspect fails to mask the destructive reality of two inflated egos coexisting. When a narcissistic relationship finally ends, the explosion is inevitable. This isn't an ordinary breakup. It's total war, with both sides desperately fighting to emerge as the winner. The final stage is marked by dramatic confrontations, endless financial disputes, and in many cases, public scenes straight out of a Hollywood script. Narcissistic divorces are especially chaotic because neither party is willing to admit defeat. Obsessed with control and validation, even as the relationship crumbles, they turn the separation process into a battleground. Every decision, from asset division to child custody, if applicable, becomes another fight. No detail is too small to escape their obsession with proving who's right. One defining feature? The exorbitant cost. Narcissists spare no expense, hiring high-profile lawyers, private investigators, even launching public smear campaigns to ensure their version of events prevails. Often, legal fees far exceed the actual settlement. For them, money isn't the goal. The real trophy is the feeling of victory over the other. This obsession with winning spills onto social media. Modern narcissists use digital platforms as stages to craft their narratives. Carefully worded posts, edited photos, and calculated statements paint their ex as the villain. They know public perception can be manipulated, feeding their insatiable need for attention. The result? A humiliating public spectacle where both sides vie for sympathy from friends, family, and even strangers. The resentment lingers long after divorce papers are signed. Ex-partners remain trapped in a cycle of accusations. For example, if one moves on to a new relationship, the other seizes the chance to publicly question the new partner's character, reinforcing their own superiority rather than healing. This toxic dynamic perpetuates hatred, destroying any chance of peace. The irony? Despite their efforts to win, neither truly succeeds. Narcissists, blind to their own flaws, always blame the other for the relationship's failure. This lack of self-awareness prevents growth. Many repeat the same patterns in new relationships, perpetuating the destructive cycle. This explosive ending epitomizes narcissistic relationships. Everything is a competition, and no one concedes defeat. While the breakup is inevitable, it rarely brings relief or clarity. Instead, it leaves emotional scars, financial ruin, and tarnished reputations. Observing narcissistic dynamics isn't just fascinating, it's educational. These extreme scenarios reveal how amplified personality traits deeply impact human connections, highlighting destructive patterns often overlooked in daily life. Key takeaways: self-awareness is critical. Narcissists can't recognize their flaws, even when mirrored in their partner. This serves as a powerful reminder: we all have blind spots. When someone points out toxic behavior in others, it's an opportunity to reflect on ourselves. Could we be repeating the same mistakes? Empathy is the foundation of healthy relationships. Narcissists fail at genuine emotional support because they're hyper-focused on their own needs. This underscores the importance of mutual understanding, vulnerability, and respect. True connections require both parties to listen, learn, and grow together, something impossible between two inflated egos. Spotting red flags early saves pain. If you've been stuck in cycles of manipulation or external validation, analyze recurring patterns. Narcissists excel at attracting people-pleasers or those with low self-esteem. Recognizing these dynamics is the first step to breaking free. Toxic relationships aren't always symmetrical. Often, one partner has subtle narcissistic traits that gradually erode the other's well-being. Studying overt narcissistic pairs can help identify subtler warning signs before it's too late. Protect your emotional energy. Narcissists drain those around them. Setting clear boundaries and investing in personal growth are essential. Remember, real power lies in recognizing dysfunction and having the courage to walk away. These lessons are especially vital today, where social media and instant gratification culture reward superficial, self-centered behavior. Witnessing the fallout of narcissistic relationships inspires us to pursue deeper, more authentic connections. Did this video help you understand narcissistic relationships better? If so, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Drop a comment below. Have you ever dated a narcissist? I'd love to hear your story. And don't stop here. The next suggested video holds even more powerful revelations. Click and continue this journey. Remember, you are light. Never stop shining.